What's up you guys, it's Justin here, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to stop living paycheck to paycheck like most people do. The first tip is very simple and very straightforward. A lot of people that I know in my personal life, family, friends, are paying anywhere from $50 up to $200 per month for their cell phone bill, for their carrier or their service. The first major tip is to literally understand how to remove and put in your own SIM card and get a phone that is unlocked so you can change carriers if you want to. Mint Mobile, a company by Ryan Reynolds, uses T-Mobile cell towers so you can have premium wireless, and this video is not sponsored by Mint Mobile. I'm a personal user of it, that's why I'm recommending it. I'll also put my link down in the description. With Mint Mobile, you can literally have access to T-Mobile cell towers so you get great coverage all over the place, especially in the United States and also when you're traveling. And you literally can get your bill down to $20 per month, and you can have 10 gigabytes of data with this as well for $20 per month. It's incredible. I used to have Verizon, then I used to have T-Mobile, then I switched from T-Mobile to Mint Mobile, which is the same exact cell coverage. And I decreased my bill from $100 a month down to $20 a month, and I have 10 gigabytes of data with that particular plan. 10 or 12, I think they increased it, but I believe it's 10. And on my iPad, I have an iPad Pro with Mint Mobile as well, and I pay $30 a month for unlimited data, and I believe I get 35 gigabytes of 5 gigabyte data before it gets shifted down to 4 or 3 or 2G or whatnot from my iPad Pro when I'm traveling, in hotels or airports, and I just want to have constant, and I want to work on my iPad Pro and stuff like that. I have a separate keyboard and mouse for it. It's awesome. So that's the first major tip. You can just slash that down. If you have let's say you and your spouse and your kids are on a family plan with Verizon or something like that, and you're okay with T-Mobile's level of coverage and cell service, you can totally switch to Mint Mobile, and everybody's phone will be between $15 to $20 a month, or if you want unlimited, it'll be $30 per phone per month, I think. I don't even know what the family plans are because I just paid for myself, but I pay $30 a month, one payment, $360 a year for Mint Mobile for my iPad for unlimited data, unlimited call and text, and on my iPhone 13, I literally just have $20 a month, $240 a year for unlimited talk, text, and 10 gigabytes of data because I'm home so often I don't really need the unlimited, and my iPad's unlimited anyway. The second major tip is understand how to use and leverage credit cards. This is something simple anybody can literally do. I have a Chase Visa Freedom card that gives me 1.5% cash back on everything I spend money on, and that adds up after a while. I spend a lot of money on gas, on groceries, and just other personal expenses that come up where you can use a credit card and you can literally just make back a bunch of free cash. That's stuff that I would pay cash for and not frivolous purchases that I would want for money I don't have or something like that. So obviously that credit card balance always stays at zero. I pay it off every week or every month. I just clear the whole balance. That's the key here with this strategy. And the other thing is you can open up a bunch of new credit cards and basically build your credit score, build your credit report so you can invest in real estate and stuff like that down the road. And if you spend $1,500 in your first 90 days or $3,000 in your first 90 days on gas, on groceries, and other personal items you would normally buy anyway, they will give you even more free cash. So this is just a great way to save money to use for investing and other purposes so you can stop living paycheck to paycheck. The next thing is if you have a car that has a loan on it, understand and know how credit scores work so that you can shop around and refinance your particular car loan. For example, if you're paying 8 or 9% or higher, God, if you're paying higher than that on your car loan, I feel bad for you. But if you're paying more than that, you can drastically save a lot of money and have a lot more money every car payment going to principal instead of interest. So if you're paying 10% or more interest rates, understand how credit works. Educate yourself, use Google, or watch a YouTube video on it, or watch one of my YouTube videos on how credit works. And refinance your car so that you can not only save $100 per month on your $50 to $100 per month on your payment, that make it so that instead of 70% of your payment going to principal, 90% of your payment goes to principal to get paid off that much sooner, and you lose less money on interest. Another simple tip to save money to stop living paycheck to paycheck is sell stuff that you haven't used in the last 6 months on OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace. You'd be amazed. Whenever I'm upgrading my technology, I will sell it and then literally go out and buy something new. Just to give you some examples from my own life, I recently just bought a 65-inch OLED A1 series TV. I previously had a 70-inch Samsung I think it was AU 6900. I spent originally $570 on that before sales tax, or probably $620. I just sold it on offer up for $480 in cash to put towards the upgrade for that. That's a bad example. That's not how you save money, and I use that TV all the time. But whenever when I upgraded to the new camera I'm using right now, I sold the previous one and got a bunch of money for it to put towards the new camera. So that's a good idea for upgrading. But if you have other stuff that you literally haven't touched or used that's in storage, or it's not just, or it's in your room that you haven't even used it in like 6 months and you don't think you're going to use it, you have a hard time thinking about scenarios where you'd actually need to use it, then just sell it. Like I bought like a ton of tripods for camera gear. I realized there's, over time, there's no use cases for those materials or equipment that I could readily think of, and I haven't used it in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. I just sell it and get some quick cash. So look around for personal items or things like that you haven't been using, and you can sell it, make some quick money, so you can save money to invest, so you can stop living paycheck to paycheck. Okay, if you have subscription services that you know you're going to keep because they're an important part of your lifestyle and what you do, consider paying an annual payment for those subscription services if they offer it. And oftentimes they'll give you 2 months free, or even 3 months free, or even 4 months free. And they can immediately cut that subscription service or fee down by like 15 to 40% depending on the service provider, if you know that you don't need a month-to-month plan. Okay, this is another simple tip to save a lot of money. Simply get roommates if you are willing to. Basically, living alone has a lot of nice privileges. You get to have total privacy and autonomy. You don't have to compromise or share or do any of that stuff. But if your goal is to stop living paycheck to paycheck as quickly as possible, getting a roommate or 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 in some cases can drastically destroy your rent or mortgage or utilities payments, so that you can very quickly begin to save way more money that you can use to invest, so that that money can multiply itself since you become financially free a lot more quickly. Here's another game-changing one. Analyze your expenses and eliminate the waste. Okay, if you notice that, like, if you look at your monthly expenses and you like order like $400 worth of Uber Eats or like DoorDash or any of these other extremely expensive services, I don't ever do that. Like, whenever I want to get takeout food, I will usually just go pick it up myself, because I can't stomach the idea of paying a tip, increased food prices, and then the delivery fee. It's crazy. It's like you get a sandwich that's like $15, like if you get like a giant sub at Jersey Mike's, and by the time like it comes to your house, like you've spent $27. It's like, what the hell just happened? So that's just one example. But even if you make tons of money and you want to do this because, YOLO, that's fine. But this video is not for you. This video is for people who are in a spot where they're living paycheck to paycheck and they want to save money and invest money and have a better, higher quality of life as a result of that. So just analyze your expenses and eliminate waste. And when I say waste, I mean things that like are absolutely non-essential, that you're not using or really getting any value out of, or like small compromises you can make. Instead of having so much takeout food, buy some groceries and cook a little bit more, or come up with a strategy, eat more peanut butter and jelly sandwiches or something like that, instead of going out and getting pizza every day at the venue that's near your workplace or something like that. This is a really overlooked tip that a lot of people don't do. So I love this one. I'm going to share some personal stories with you. Buy a sweet spot car. What the heck does that mean? Here's what that means. I am so good at this and I don't want to brag, but it takes a little bit of patience. But a lot of people, a lot of my friends and family members always buy used pre-owned cars that have like 100,000 miles plus on them. And it blows my mind, because watch this. Okay, the cost of ownership of buying something, like let's say you spend $7,500 cash on a car, your insurance bill is low. But the thing is, when you do that, when those cars are older and they have a lot of miles on there, you don't have a car payment. So you think you're saving money and getting a lot of value out of that. My life experience has taught me, from looking at it from my own perspective and just observing other people, like, you literally don't have a car payment, but you'll have like probably a significant repair like every 6 months. Plus the uncertainty of not knowing when your car is going to break down, because it absolutely will, right? If there's 100,000 miles on it, no car payment. So your actual cost of ownership on a car like that, it's like if you have one $1,800 to $3,600 per month, you're probably going to have two $1,800 like literally repairs like a year. And this might not always happen. You might make it 2 years and then you're going to have like a giant repair, unless you're like a car mechanic, and you're probably not though. Okay, so your cost of ownership, if you're doing like $3,600 worth of repairs, is like $300 a month. And my own observations from my own life experience, observing other people who drive cars with 100,000 plus miles on them, me having cars like that have had 50 to 80,000 miles on them. Yeah, I remember having to repair the wazoo out of like certain cars that have a lot of miles on. So what I'm trying to tell you is the cost of ownership of a car like that doesn't have a car payment is often higher than a brand new car that you bought right off the lot that has like no miles, if you know what you're doing. Okay, let me give you an example. I once bought a Hyundai Elantra in like February of 2019 that had 10,400 miles on it, and it was a 2018, and I bought it in 2019. So the car's 1 year old, still has all its warranties and everything like that from the manufacturer, only 10,000 miles, and I bought it for $12,900 before sales tax, like 13,000, about 14,200 out the door. This car was so incredibly reliable, and I could have obviously paid cash for it. Actually, I did. I bought it in cash. Here's another really cool tip. Certain people will allow you to refinance your car if it's paid off. So I handed my title to a credit union, and I just pulled $13,000 in cash out of it at a 3.99 interest rate, $240 a month payment, so I could use that $13,000 in capital to invest in other things and probably make more than 3.99. And also just because I like having a bunch of cash in my accounts, and I don't mind losing a very small amount of money in interest to have a larger bank account balance. But yeah, so the cost of ownership for that particular car is like $240. Plus insurance, plus like very good gas mileage. The only thing I ever had to do to that car was just put a new battery in it one time, and then like switch the tires like every 30 to 40,000 miles. So my point is, if you can find a deal like that by simply doing research on like TrueCar.com, like a Hyundai Elantra is a great vehicle for this. Like buy a car that has very low miles, like 30,000 miles or less, okay? And that is in a certain price point between like 15 or 16,000 or something like that, less than 30,000 miles or less. That's only like 3 to 4 years old, maybe 2017 or newer as of 2022, which is 5 years young or something like that, 5 years old. Those types of cars, like if you're gonna pay, I'd rather honestly pay $240 a month for sure than drive a car that has 100,000 miles on it. That like I know I don't have a car payment, but I know I'm gonna have to have at least one or two significant repairs every year. And also the uncertainty of when I'm gonna need those repairs. If I need the car and I can't drive it because it's in the shop for a week or two, and I just can't stand like sitting in car dealerships or shops and they come out and they tell you, oh yeah, they hand you like a worksheet. I haven't had this problem in like a decade because I don't buy cars that are old like this. But I remember back when I first did, like it's an insane amount of money that you'll spend on car repairs. So get your cost of ownership down and increase your certainty by getting a sweet spot car using like the example I gave you, for real, seriously. Another one that's really awesome, if you're a homeowner, you can do a refinance on your house every 6 months if you want to, with a no closing cost loan, and you can skip 2 mortgage payments and keep your principal balance the same. There's companies I know in Arizona that do this, and in other states of the United States as well. This is amazing because if your mortgage is like $2,500 a month, and then like every 6 months you want to refinance it, as long as the interest rate doesn't go up and your principal balance stays the same, you can skip 2 payments and just immediately save $5,000. The only downside to this is it will since it's paying off a mortgage and opening up a new mortgage account, your average age of accounts on your credit reports will decrease slightly, which might lower your score temporarily by 10 points or something like that. Or maybe not as much. If you have other really old accounts, you could keep doing this, or you could just do a refinance every 12 months. And again, you don't even have to refinance it to get a lower interest rate. As long as you're not paying any closing costs and your principal balance remains the same, you can skip 2 payments on your mortgage and just save a bunch of money. And you can dump that money into other bad debts you might have, or pay off your automobile faster, or just take the $5,000 and save it, because what it'd be in my case, just dump it into stocks or save it as a down payment on your next real estate purchase. Another really good potential benefit of being a homeowner, and another really cool tip, potentially looking at investing in solar panels. Now, don't just go with the first person who offers you solar panels. Really do your due diligence. Really learn how much solar panels should cost to install. And then once you have that number in mind, you can get tax credits and potentially slash your electric bill pretty significantly, especially if you're, depending on, like in Arizona, for like June, July, August, and May as well, and part of September sometimes, we have our HVAC units running and our electric bill goes through the roof for those 4 or 5 months, okay? And if you have solar panels, you can potentially cut that bill in half and get tax credits at the same time, and not only be saving money and spending less than what you were spending before, you're also getting equity in the panels if you have a loan on them, and it's also increasing the value on your house technically to an extent, and yeah, you're getting tax credits if they're still being offered. So that's another really good way to save a lot of money, increase the value of your house, and slash your bill, because the cost of the panels per month, if it's on a loan, depending on how you do it, can be less than the savings you're getting on the electric cost. Here's another really simple one. stop doing any unhealthy habits that could potentially increase the probability of you having to go to the hospital to get treatment. Now, this isn't always something within a person's control, but if it is within your control to stop doing things that'll increase the likelihood that you are going to need health services, especially in a place like the United States where you have basically have your own individual health insurance plan or be covered through your job, because going to a hospital or an urgent care center is very expensive. Even if you have good insurance, the deductibles can be pretty high. And if you don't have any insurance or good insurance, you're just going to never be not living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, you're going to be going so far backwards, because getting treatment at a real hospital or an urgent center is very, very expensive. Even if you have good insurance, it can be expensive, but if you don't, just forget about it. You're completely toast. So make sure on that note you research and try to get the best insurance coverage you can through your job if you already have that as an option, or through an individual plan if you have that as an option, or through your college if they have an option for that, because something that can wipe out your finances in less than a day, less than 24 hours, is getting in some type of situation where you need health services and health treatment, and you don't have a plan in place that's going to help you pay for those expenses. You can be completely toast. Here's another great one. Automatically save 10 to 20% of what you make every time you get paid, and do so automatically by putting it into a checking account and treating that 10 to 20% savings as an expense, and then put it automatically into a checking account to save as a real estate down payment on a house, or put it into an index fund to basically, with stocks, to just get a solid guaranteed return on that money, so that your money is multiplying itself and not being used to cover out expenses because you're able to live below your means. And one thing you can do is combine these strategies and take the money automatically out of your paycheck and basically put it into, you can put it into some type of retirement account, which basically then invest into stocks, which are generating a return. I recommend the Roth IRA ones because I would rather have my stuff going taxed in instead of being taxed out later. That's just my personal preference. I don't want to pay taxes later. And on the other note, I don't really recommend retirement accounts. I would try to avoid them if you could, because they have penalties if you take the money out in advance. And if you can just cut out the middleman and just go directly to an investing account that doesn't have penalties for you withdrawing your money or selling your stocks or whatever you want to do to get the cash, I would do that. So you can do automatically from your paycheck to, for example, and like an index fund or stocks, or to your checking account and then to the stocks. Let that money multiply itself, then pull it out with hopefully no penalties. Just read the fine print, and then use that saved money that multiplied itself from the stocks to put towards as a down payment on a house. Because in my opinion, investing in houses most of the time is the best investment period for what you're doing, especially if you look at my other case studies of how I've gone 1,000% returns over the course of 2 years on my particular real estate investment in that particular case study, and other ones I have before that, I've gotten triple-digit returns as well. Here's a really good one now for making money. You want to be tenacious as but when it comes to enhancing and improving your ability to get paid more money through your job or your career or your business. And if it's a job and if you do happen to have a degree or specific field experience in a trade or industry, you want to always be networking on LinkedIn and having outcome-focused conversations with people to create opportunities for yourself. So if your salary is kind of capped at like 30 or 40 or 50 or 60,000 a year, one of the best ways to simply not live paycheck to paycheck is to simply make more money and then take the increased savings you've gotten as a result of increasing your income and simply saving that new money. And how you want to do that is literally by networking with people on LinkedIn, applying to different jobs where you know you definitely get paid more and have better benefits. And also just, if the more you network, the higher your net worth is going to go up, because you have quality conversations with high quality people. They're going to remember you and potentially come back to you and offer you something that could really change your life. You could go from like making $50,000 a year in like a certain type of job to making like $80, $90, $120,000 a year in a very similar job at a different company. In fact, a lot of people are leaving their jobs and staying in the same industry, but working for new companies that are simply offering more pay, and it's a very similar type of work. So don't get comfortable and settle. Just be tenacious as when it comes to like changing companies if you have to increase your salary. In fact, my cousin, who has a packaging science degree, is basically a packaging engineer. I don't know if he consciously did this, but he's played this to perfection. He had an internship, did really well, got his first job making good money. Probably, I don't know if he wants me to disclose the figures or not, but He was making good money. Then he went to a new place, was making even more money. Went to another place, making even more money. Then went to another place now where he has like a nice work from home remote position with amazing benefits, where he's making even more money. He's doing really well. And that was because he was tenacious and relentless when it came to looking for not only like job opportunities, but enhancing his career, not getting comfortable at the first place that offers a really good living wage, and just keep drastically increasing by 10, 15, 20% your annual income. I'm self-employed and I'm a business owner, so for me it doesn't even matter. Like I get paid 100% on a performance basis to how much what I do in my businesses. But this advice is really good for people who have a job. And if you have a degree, or if you don't, you're based off your skills and experiences, like update your resume, network, have quality outcome-focused conversations with people who have industry experience that work for a company that you want to work for that can potentially offer you a much bigger salary and better benefits and stuff like that. Now, if you want to become even more valuable and get an even higher paying job, pick up some new skills. If you don't know how to do certain things that would be valuable to your industry, learn what those skills are that you would need to have and pick up those skills. Self-educate, read books, take courses, make yourself more valuable so your resume is stronger. And here's another really good one, learn a second language. If you can pick up at literally another language and become bilingual, that's a huge separator. Okay, you can spend like 30 minutes to an hour a day picking up a new language. Like if you're an English speaker, learn how to speak Spanish or something like that. And it immediately makes you bilingual if you have fluency in that language, and you're going to be even more valuable, and make sure it's relevant and related to what your career is. And if it would be helpful or useful in your career, I would do that. And even if it's not, it's still a huge benefit. Like over the course of like 3 months, you could gain fluency in a new language to some extent, for sure. There's an hour a day with like the Pimsleur approach, and I'm not sponsoring anybody or Rosetta Stone. I'm just telling you programs I've used before to pick up Spanish as well, because I've traveled back and forth to Mexico a few times and other places throughout the world where I like to know at least a couple of the base languages. I hope you got a ton of value in this video about how to stop living paycheck to paycheck. If you like this type of content, you like this video, be sure to hit the like button and please subscribe for more content and videos. I post all the time, several times per week. So I'll see you on the other videos. Bye for now.